Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking Selfless by Hyram, the brand that hit the headlines when it launched exactly 12 months ago today. I thought with this being like the year anniversary, it'd be a great opportunity to take a look at everything that's gone on in that 12-month period and how we got to where we are today, what the current situation is with this brand, and then look at the future, see what might be in store, or at least what I think might be happening in the next 12 months. I know a lot of people have thoughts, feelings, and opinions when it comes to this brand, so sit back, relax, let's talk all things Selfless by Hyram. Now before we get into this video, just a quick little update to say, if you are a fan of this brand, or maybe you want to try any of their products out, they do currently have a 50% off sale. This is going on their site, which I'll link down below. This is said to be celebrating that 1 year anniversary, and obviously 50% off is quite a big saving. I've got some thoughts around that, which I'm going to come on to later in the video, but if you love the products, I want to try them for the first time, now is probably the best opportunity to do that while they do have a little bit of saving on your hard-earned coin. I know people will have mixed opinions of this brand, but I really want to get the conversation going, so sound off in the comment section below. Have you tried any of their products? What were the outcomes? What benefits or negatives did you get from them? What's your overall impression of the brand itself? Whether you love or loathe Selfless by Hyram, hopefully you'll want to reach down and give this video a big thumbs up and a like. The more likes a video gets, the more widely YouTube distributes it on its platform, so it's just a great way of getting this message out there and getting that conversation going, which is really what the purpose of today's video is. But I've got an awful lot to say in this video, so shall we cut the waffle and just delve straight on in? And I guess the best place to start is going right back 12 months to where it all began. I think to say that this was a phenomenon in terms of the skincare world when it launched will be an understatement. Honestly, there were so many articles, blogs, influencer promo when it came to this brand and its launch. It kind of felt like total saturation, and it sold really, really well on launch. I'm not surprised because, Hyram had a huge fan base, and his big like best followers, subscribers, and friends were obviously going to be all over this. And the products themselves weren't actually that bad. The formulations were relatively good, and I think because they had a lower concentration of a lot of the actives that were in there, they suited a broad range of different skin types, so it was pretty inclusive, which meant a lot of people could try them if it was budget friendly in terms of what they had to spend on skincare. Since then, they've actually launched only one new product, which was an antioxidant serum, though actually it had more peptides than antioxidants, and I'm going to come on to that later in the video, but that's pretty much it in terms of new launches in the last 12 months. All of this was done in collaboration with the Inky List, which were obviously the promoters, the manufacturers, the distributors of the entire Selfless by Hyram line. I think it's really difficult to actually tell who owns the brand, how involved Hyram is versus the Inky List. I think as we've gone through this 12-month period, it's become more apparent that the Inky List are really the driving force behind this, particularly the way that they choose to market the products. Again, that's something I'm going to come on to later in the video, but it's still a little bit of a mystery as to what exactly the structure is, who owns it, who has the key input, and how all that works. So if you guys have any more information on that, sound off in the comments section below. That's really how we got to today, and now I want to pick apart and see where we are. Let's take stock to see what's happened with the brand and what we think might be happening in the future. So let's start with the biggest rumour out there, and that is that the brand is being discontinued, and this really started with these huge saves, this 50% off that the brand is offering at the moment. Now obviously this is quite a generous saving when you compare and contrast some other usual skincare sales out there, so I kind of can see why a lot of people might be thinking, okay, this is kind of a brand on its way out. However, I don't think there's any truth to this rumour because the brand has actually just launched in Cult Beauty here in the UK. You won't be expanding to new distributors if you were discontinuing the line, so I think this is just speculation and rumour rather than having any basis to it. You can read into what you want from a 50% sale. I think, if sales were sky high, you probably wouldn't be offering 50% off. And I've got some thoughts and feelings when it comes to the price point that I'm going to come on to later on. But I think we can dispel this myth that it's been discontinued because you won't be promoting it as heavily online and opening new channels of distribution if you weren't seeing this as an invested brand for the long term. Also, a lot of people called out that it didn't sell out on launch. I think a lot of people expected it to sell out. There was an awful lot of hype, an awful lot of promotion going on behind the scenes, and Hyram was the most popular skinfluencer on the planet. So people expected that this to literally sell out like that, like a lot of other launches do. However, I think again, sometimes we read a little bit too much into this, because what we don't know is the levels of stock that were built up prior to that launch. The Inky List kind of know what they're doing when it comes to launching products. They probably stockpiled a whole host of volume when it came to each and every one of these products. So the fact it didn't sell out, honestly, I don't think it is a shock. I also think it's got some positives, because let's be honest, Who isn't frustrated when you really want to get your hands on a product or a new launch and it's sold out before you can do it? I think it's a much more customer-friendly approach to have built up enough stock that you don't sell out. So reading into the idea that it's been a bit of a failure because it didn't sell out, I think, that's reading too much into it. I would say actually that might just be really good forward planning and stock management, and the English kind of know what they're doing when it comes to that. Final rumour is that they're launching a new sunscreen. I think this was actually confirmed by the Selfless By Hyram brand that they're in the final stages of formulation. Honestly, I really wish they wouldn't. I know this sounds quite negative, but I really wish they wouldn't. The Incolist don't have the best track record when it comes to formulating sunscreens. They had their original zinc oxide one, which was terrible, so thick, so goopy, such a visible white cast. They then reformulated that, but it's pretty much the same product in terms of the texture and how it applies to the skin. Also, we need to remember that this is going to be manufactured in the US for a US audience. So again, you've got a lot of restrictions in terms of what filters you can use in US based sunscreens. So they're not going to be like the newest generation, offering anything new or innovative to the market. I personally am loving European style sunscreens at the moment, and I captured some of my favorites in a recent video, which I'll link up there. So I think, any hype that comes from, the potential launch of a sunscreen is going to be quashed pretty quickly when we actually see the formulation, the texture, and how it applies to the skin. I'm happy to be proved wrong, but I think that might be the case when it comes to this one. So let's start with the positives. As we look back over the past 12 months, what did this brand get right? Well, let's start with the formulations. I actually think with the original 5 products they launched with, the formulations were really good. They were super gentle, so like I said earlier, they were accessible. They would work for a broad range of different skin types. Even if you have a very sensitive skin type, I think you could have delved into this brand and actually got some great successes. I think it was a relatively comprehensive skincare routine if you take out the lack of an SPF, which meant that people could just shop exclusively this brand if they wanted to, and they offered a bundle, which meant you got a small discount if you bought all the products together. I think the formulations worked nicely. I always call out certain brands for just putting niacinamide in every single product. This wasn't the case with this brand. I think it had a broad range of different actives, and there was definitely differences in formulation between each and every one of their products, something which, whilst it might seem super simplistic and like a given, isn't always the case with a lot of brands, so I definitely applaud them for that. I also really liked the packaging. It was vibrant, it was uplifting, it made you want to reach for the product. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, packaging, honestly, it doesn't really feature. It's all about the quality of the formulations and not what they're packaged in. I do hear that, but you know what? As human beings, we are drawn to nice looking things, nice aesthetically pleasing packaging. This certainly had it. I thought a lot of the products as well were really easy to use. The tubes, you could squeeze the product out well. You could actually cut the tops of all the tube, which I love. That's something I always do to get every last drop of product out there. So I thought the packaging, the sustainability that came with it, had a lot of thought and feeling behind it. So definitely something I would call out as a positive. And finally, their cleanser. I loved it. It was a bit on the higher price point, but I'd say of all the products, that's the one that I gravitated towards the most. I loved it. My skin really liked it. I got some great results. I know that's not universal, but then again, no product really is. Some people didn't get the same results. Sound off in the comment section below if your experiences with that cleanser differed. But I say for me, this was definitely the standout. I really enjoyed it. I repurchased it a couple of times, and it definitely had its place in my skincare routine for a good couple of months afterwards. Now, let's kind of look at what went wrong. So first and foremost, the price point. It was ridiculous that the price points that this brand launched with, they ever thought were sustainable. I think when you've got the Incolist plastered all over your products and people know and are aware that they're manufacturing, they're promoting and they're distributing the products, you kind of expect Incolist prices. So a cleanser that comes in at around the $10 price point, and then you see the cleanser from the Selfless by Hyram line, which is $28. And you're like, no. It just didn't really marry up, and I think a lot of people were shocked by the sky-high prices that were being charged on launch. I think this is maybe one of the main reasons, at least if you read some of the forums and some of the chatter around this, that a lot of people decided not to try this brand on launch. I think this is a shame. I think if they'd have brought that price point down just a little bit, it would have been much more accessible, more people would have tried it, and hopefully fallen in love with the brand. What this sale actually tells us, you've got this 50% off sale going on at the moment, is that actually they're making huge markups and margins on all of these products, which is why they can still sell them with a 50% discount. I don't actually think, despite a lot of people saying it's because they're discontinuing the brand, this isn't the case. I actually think the reason they're doing this sale is to test the waters, see the volume of sales they get at a lower price point, and I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see this kind of 50% off become the norm. This cleanser is now on sale for £9 here in the UK, which is roughly $13, much more in line with that drugstore and affordable cleanser price point that the Incolist are known for. I think they probably realised that actually at the sky-high prices they wanted to charge, they were never going to get get their sales. And that's reflected in their new product launch, that antioxidant serum I mentioned earlier, which actually launched with a £14 price point, half the price of what their other products do, and isn't included in the sale. You mark my words, all of these products are going to be kept at this 50% reduction for the future, and I think this is going to be a benefit because they really missed the mark hard when they launched with such a high price point. I think the second mistake this brand made is with their new product formulation. I said the original formulations were amazing, and I stand by that. I think they were really well thought through. The new antioxidant serum is just poor. I covered the reasons why. I am loath to even call it an antioxidant serum in a recent video, which I'll link up there. It's got peptide Q10 on the front, but doesn't contain any Q10. They've got some loopholes to say why that's allowed and why that's the case, but you know what? It's very misleading to us, the consumer, and also doesn't need to happen. Q10, super inexpensive to formulate with. They could have just put a little bit of Q10 in there and there wouldn't have been a problem. It would have actually been a better product. For me, this was a firm pass. And I think if this is the direction of their new product launches, which is all marketing over substance, I'm going to kind of check out, and I don't think there's anything to see here with this brand. This has very much been driven by the Inky List, because this is like their 101. If you look at the Inky List new launches, they do the same thing. And I just think it takes us, the consumer, for fools. So I'm not all about that. And I think this is a big mishap when it comes to this brand. I think the third mistake is the way that they went about the sustainability, the social consciousness, or whatever they call it, because they never actually gave a commitment to give a percentage of profits or a core monetary value equivalent of profits to charities, left a lot of people to say, how much of this is actually going to any of these good causes? Now, I'm sure that actually they went into this with eyes open and with the best intentions, and I'm sure a lot of money is going to charities from this brand. But I think without that hard and fast commitment of a certain percentage or a monetary value, it leaves a lot of people saying, is this just greenwashing? Is this just a brand trying to get on the environmental train, to look like they're more sustainable, look like they're doing good, without actually having to commit hard and fast to any particular percentage or amount of their profits going to them? I think this is something that they could fix pretty quickly. Just say X percentage going to charity, or this amount per year will be donated, and that'll kind of stop all of this challenge that people seem to be saying, that maybe it's more about looking good than actually doing good. I hope that this isn't the case, and there's nothing to say that it is, but I think this will be a quick thing to rectify if they wanted to, and it surprises me that 12 months in, they kind of haven't done that, considering that the number one thing that people kind of throw out this brand is the idea that they're a bit greenwashing, maybe trading on this a little bit too much. They could stop all that, but they haven't yet. So I guess we'll just watch this space. In summary, I think a lot of things have gone right with this brand, and it's not going to be discontinued. I absolutely think it has a future, particularly if they change some of the things that I've called out today. But for me, I think the biggest mistake was partnering with the Inky List on this. The Inky List name was front and centered, powered by the Inky List, which means a lot of people had some preconceptions before they'd even looked at the products. This is why a lot of us were shocked when we saw the price point. We expected Inky List, we got bougie and luxury, and this, I think, put a lot of people off the brand to start with. Also, the Inky List kind of pride themselves on being the fast fashion equivalent in the skincare world, which doesn't really align very well to the sustainability, social consciousness ethos of the Selfless by Hyram brand. It seems quite jarring that a brand which prides itself on being that fast skincare approach doesn't really work that well with a brand that wants to be sustainable, selfless, and promoting, others over this brand. I find it quite jarring, which again, I can't be the only person that's noticed that. I hope that this brand does have a future. I always am all about choice in the skincare world, and I think whilst there have been some slip-ups, it's definitely nice to see brands look at sustainability in a meaningful way. If they changed their approach to, just declared what percentage went to charity and all that good stuff, I think they'd be leading the industry in terms of donations and supporting social causes, which I wish more brands would do. There's definitely some positives to take out of this, and I will keep an eye out on future launches, but for me, there's just been quite a few mishaps that have left me feeling a bit cold. What are your thoughts, feelings, opinions when it comes to Selfless by Hyram? Sound off in the comment section below, and wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.